Hey, everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan. I have kind of a potpourri of stories, all of which I do believe you'll find interesting. So first, maybe I spend a little too much time on the Wayback Machine. Here I am way back on May 25th, 2014, using that tool that has captured websites that are no longer available to be seen on the web as a normal method. But back in May 2014 on the Ripple forum, someone was buying 75,000 XRP for just $300. Now it seems outrageous, right? But I think 5 years from now in 2024, it's going to seem outrageous that you can buy 75,000 XRP for just about $30,000. Now we'll see, right? All right, then I had the pleasure to talk with Tom Kuster in the last 24 hours, and we were having a very fun conversation on the backside of Twitter. And he's a really important person in the XRP community, especially when it comes to Europe. He is located in the Netherlands, and I think if you remember the big meetup that was in Amsterdam, you saw a lot of video, and you could see Tom in that video. Well, he enlightened me on a product that is being developed and is made and available for everybody in regards to your address. And in giving me that information, I also was able to speak with Vyacheslav Bakshayev, who is the founder of BitHump, and he is really an amazing guy. This guy speaks Russian, English, a little bit of Japanese, and Slovenian. He has a degree or a diploma in modern Japanese from a university in London. How interesting. I can't wait. I didn't know this before I had the pleasure of communicating with him today, but I do look forward in the future to talk a little bit of Japanese with him. So let me show you what they have developed. This is the means to actually add or register the name of your choice so that you can do a quick search on your wallet address and you don't have to remember that long string of letters and numbers. And so here is mine here, Crypto Eddie, and I am able to just put Crypto Eddie in and my address will appear. So this is going to be very useful, and I can't really explain why, but I think there is something in the works being developed that will also make this registration valuable. So you might want to get a name that is meaningful for you and get a wallet opened up to wait for that development. Okay, this is important. Look at this. So as of May 2019, 77% of the validators are running on non-Ripple unique nodes. This is very important because that narrative out there that XRP is not decentralized is just old information. And you can see that just in a year, it has gone to a position of 77% of non-Ripple nodes. So the validator determines if the transaction is valid, and it's basically anyone can run a validator. There is no cost. And if 20% of the nodes don't disagree, well, then there is a temporary halt and it reconfigures, but that stops any double spending. So Ripple does not own nor control the network. So I don't care what anybody still says out there, they are behind the times. And I'm not an expert, but I can tell you who is, and that is Matt Hamilton. You can find him on Twitter. He just recently restarted his validator and configured it manually to exclude all Ripple validators, and it's running exclusively from the 19 validators as of January that were not a part of Ripple, and it was running fine. So I'm taking the liberty to tell you to reach out to Matt if you have any questions, but I didn't ask him ahead of time, so please be very careful in your questions. Don't bombard him, but I think if you're looking for a person who is qualified to give you the correct information in this particular part of the technology, Matt is definitely qualified. Okay, and speaking of nodes, I put in my application to run an Elixir node. I did that back on April 9th. This was a very long application, actually. I heard from a lot of people who got halfway through it and quit, but I'm really glad I did. I'm one of the like 770 now applications out there. I don't know if I'll really make the final cut, but I really feel like I am happy that I did it. They are going to now take comments from the public. Sorry, take public comments from people who want to look through the applications, and should you want to make any comments on mine, my respondent ID is this 10653592 Wow, all of this just becomes public knowledge forever, right? It's sometimes a little scary to be on blockchain in a way, because it's going to be out there for generations to see. But the last three questions, I think, were most difficult for me. And I just thought I would go over that, because if you want to go back and look at some of the applications, the answers that people gave to this section are highly interesting. So what is the difference between decentralized networks and distributed networks, and where on the decentralized spectrum do you sit? So I answered that I understand that in a distributed network, parameters are set to fit the needs of a defined group, and decentralized is completely agnostic. It becomes a case-by-case basis. And then the next question, it gets even a little harder. As best as you can, given currently available information, please describe the value proposition of Elixir platform and how it differs from other current blockchain solutions. So I answered that privacy is my right. Elixir differs because it harnesses blockchain that will unleash human potential with mass adoption by way of being quantum resistant, allowing me to control my own communication and payments without fear of doing so. And then the last one, which I think is even the most difficult at all, privacy by default is a goal of Elixir platform. In your opinion, why is privacy by default critical for the future of the internet? And my answer was, in times of war, in times of corrupt governments, and in times of bad actors. So I don't know if you agree with my answers, but if you're wanting to make any comments on my application, I invite you to do so. And if you are interested in how other people around the world, I mean literally around the world, I'm just amazed sometimes at how, I know it's global, but when you really see it in an application format with a real person behind it, and this, questions that are really pertinent to our world today in combination with blockchain. Yeah, it just takes me aback, actually. So anyway, this is, I think, fun stuff, and I really wish everybody the best, and I'm sure they're going to choose the best operators for their nodes. Okay, and let's see. Let's take a look at an article that came out of CoinPost. This is Atsushi Honda. He is a soccer player here in Japan. Well, actually, he's a player coach in Cambodia, but he has been on the national team. He's a superstar. He is also very big in blockchain and cryptocurrency, and he wants to start a new fund. But what I found interesting in this interview article is that he has the idea of actually creating a decentralized ownership of teams. So if you can imagine, if you actually tokenize a team, you can become an owner of a team through that tokenization. And yeah, how exciting is that for people who really love sports? So if you are, for example, a hardcore, diehard soccer fan, if you could have some ownership of your favorite team, like Manchester United, wouldn't that just be amazing? So these are some of the world-changing aspects that blockchain and tokenization is bringing to our world. And then I want to show you an article by Payments Eye. And the reason why I think it's important to look at this is this isn't coming from media that is part of the cryptocurrency world. This is coming from the banking world. And Ripple is getting a lot of attention. And there's a lot of good talking points in this particular article and many quotes from Marcus Treacher. He is the Senior Vice President of Customer Success. And basically, in a nutshell, I'll put a link down in the comment section below, but if you just want to get some of the key high points, that both payment companies and banks are the focus of Ripple, and they are going to establish that base in the fintech world. And the peer-to-peer international payment companies are very interesting because the solution to the future relies on a duopoly between these fintechs and banks equally. So they are going after them equally. In the beginning, he said in the article that they really focused on the large banks, but now it's kind of an equal balance. And there is a great deal of innovation happening in these pure play payment fintechs. And Ripple is taking a much wider approach right now. And he did also note that banks are moving quickly, and they need to. They have to. They have no choice, actually, in order to survive. And today I was listening to the really great video conversation that took place between Sam I Am and Bitcoin Ben. And Sam had made the mention, and of course, Bitcoin Ben agreed that banks are not going to look anything like they do today, and probably just 5 years from now. And I don't know, it's really hard to say how it's going to shape up, but they are in the middle of a huge, fast change. And this Swift model, according to Marcus Treacher, he says, and I quote, is badly suited, and he's talking about for this space because they are costly, they are slow, and they are cumbersome. So anyway, go definitely see Sam I Am's video, and I'll put a link down in the description below because I'm sure a lot of you know who he is, but I really have to keep reminding myself that there are new people coming to this space all the time. So, and Bitcoin Ben is from the Bitcoin kind of Litecoin camp, which I don't want to say there's this camp and that camp, but the reality is there are camps out there of people who feel strongly about the project that they are supporting. And the great thing about it is when we have people from different aspects and beliefs come together and have these conversations, I think it's incredibly valuable for the community and for cryptocurrency's healthy ecosystem as well. So yeah, do have a listen. I'll put a link down below in the description. Okay, when we take a look at the value that Ripple and XRP bring, we first need to really understand what the cost savings of Ripple is. And this is the potential savings of using Ripple without XRP right here. Okay, so I'm going to look at with XRP in a moment, but we want to just break down the cost. This is a Ripple cost model paper in the form of a PDF that is very valuable. You can see here that if we start at the top right, basically, you've got the foreign exchange at 10% of the cost, currency hedging 12% of the cost, treasury operations 27% of the cost, coming down to liquidity, which is a 23% of the cost. And for those banks, the payment operations is 21%, and then you've got the Basel III, which is actually 7% of the assets that need to be retained against the deposits for stability and for in case emergency situations. Anyway, that is a hard cost. Now, let's take a look at what it does when you use Ripple plus XRP. You can see here that assuming even initially high volatility, that the respondent bank can realize 42% cost savings compared to the current system of 8.8 BPS, which is your base points and that total of international value. So this is a really good visual to show how important Ripple is for these banks and payment service providers. And then you couple it with XRP and it is even more cost saving. And so it's all about being able to compete and move into the future. All right, and speaking of the future is here in the way of education. We have an article out of Cointelegraph, and this is, I think, out of Cointelegraph Japan, and the University of Pennsylvania opens an online education course to learn virtual currency and blockchain. And it is at the Wharton Fintech. So the University of Pennsylvania and the very famous Wharton Business School. Yeah, can you imagine now? I mean, this world is just getting just so convenient. It doesn't matter if you live in Africa or if you live in Iceland, you can actually get an online course certificate from Wharton. And if you still want to develop your knowledge, that's great. If you don't, but want to pass this information on to your children or grandchildren, I think it's very, very important. So that certificate is something that you can do 100% online. I think the course starts Wednesday, June 1st. It is a 4-course program that is 4 to 6 weeks per course. So you've got basically an 8-month total course, and it takes about 2 to 4 hours per week, and it costs $79 a month. So you're looking at getting that certificate completed for about $650. And you can see here that the courses are the foundations, payments, and regulations in fintech, and then you have cryptocurrency and blockchain and introduction to digital currencies, lending, crowdfunding, and modern investing, and the fintech specialties, the insurance tech, real estate tech, and artificial intelligence. So you're going to come away with a lot of information, whether it's just for your personal knowledge or to build on your resume or to actually break into this field. I just love this kind of online education. And speaking of education, oh my gosh, look at this. I'm on the Wayback Machine again. I don't even want to tell you how many hours I was on the Wayback Machine yesterday, but I'm back on the old Ripple Labs website, and you can see a picture of Bob Way. And Bob is the reason why I brought this, and it's a perfect segue into showing his profile pic when he was still at Ripple, is because he is starting a study group. And thanks to him, with all of his knowledge, he is one of the earliest employees at Ripple, and he is now wanting to share his knowledge about the technical side of Ripple, which I am definitely signed up to do. And I don't know how many total people are signed up for that study group, but it feels like, I don't know, the last time I looked, there was maybe 80 people signed up, somewhere in that neighborhood. Anyway, Bob is, dealing with some issues of his health right now. It's totally public. You can read about it online. We all wish him the best, and I'm sure everybody is patiently waiting for him to find the right timing and the mental and physical strength to come back to teach us, because I am ready to learn. I want to add my knowledge for the inner workings of the technical side of XRP. Okay, and the ledger. All right, so where am I jumping to now? Am I jumping? Yeah, I'm jumping into the fluff. Can you believe it? All right, so we're going to stay with knowledge and learning. And this is a school in Fukuoka. Fukuoka is part of Kyushu, which is the large southern island down south of Tokyo. And there is a finishing school that actually was in the news by Reuters like 2010 because I think they were making fun of this school because they were calling it a marriage school. Well, it does provide young women who are single a way to hone their skills to find a spouse. And they do have a large group of women who are in their 30s. In Japan, there are 3,800 firms that are specialized in matchmaking services. It's a huge business here. And the process of finding a husband or a mate is called konkatsu. And there are a lot of people in that mode. So this school is actually a finishing school, and it doesn't only cater to just the women in their 30s, but it also has some courses for men, and it actually will start with girls as young as in their grade school age, but they tailor the courses to women in their 20s, where they teach how to be elegant and hair, makeup, speech. And then women in their 30s get some of the same kind of training, but a little more training in terms of relationships. And then for the 40s, it has a lot of the same for how to look, how to carry yourself, your voice, but also the sophistication of becoming a woman. And then for the women in their 50s, it, of course, not surprising, it talks about how to stay youthful. So techniques to be flexible and improve your hospitality and stay young. And then for women in their 60s, they focus on the Japanese culture and communication. But it's like really deep when it comes to Japanese manner, hair, fashion, impression, and how to have high standards of courtesy. So it's not only just hospitality, but it's for every aspect of one's life. And I think it's okay. People might make fun of this, but I think it's actually okay. And they do have where you can just take a one single course, or you can take a finishing course, which is about 9 months long. They even have a course in washoku, which is Japanese food, because it is a intangible cultural heritage recognized by UNESCO now. That's one that I'm sure is very popular. So they claim to have about 13,000 alumni, and they do it in groups of very small groups, like of 10. They'll take actually up to 1 to 10 people per group. And you can see here, you want to look at the different groups and the courses that are recommended by age. So, and then I want to show you an article that came out today. This is in the Sankei News, and it is all about genetic matchmaking. Now, I didn't know anything about this, but they take the human leukocyte antigen, which is a protein that regulates your immune system. It's part of your DNA, and they can measure the ability to fight disease. And they also believe that it is beneficial for genetic matchmaking. Now, I went to Google, and Wikipedia has a lot of information on this. So this isn't just kind of Japan going off into some crazy business, although it is a business now. There is evidence that the biological compatibility is true. And just for example, on May 18th here in Tokyo, 26 men and women had a DNA matching party. It costs $300 to enroll, $500 to take the DNA test, and they do that through your saliva. And they are getting about 200 new registered users each month. Amazing, huh? Gosh, I don't know. I don't know what to think. I just don't know what even to say. All right, everybody, do take care. Sayonara for now. Bye-bye.